This is a remote repair, particularly for a DVD player, but the rules apply for everything here. First thing obviously is just check the battery voltage. Battery voltage was good, 1.5 volts for each, but when you kind of check the terminal ends, one lead, the lead on the left side, was not getting a good voltage, right? Instead of 1.5 from the battery, it was only giving out 0.2 volts. So that meant some form of corrosion on the leads, which was visible. So some contact cleaner and some scrubbing helped to fix that problem initially, as we start to dig a little deeper on this project. Alright, so now we got the batteries back in. We can test the remote, and surprisingly you actually see it in this camera, in this action cam. Before you weren't able to see the other remote, but you'll see a purple light flashing when I release my finger, and that's actually the signal coming out.
Yeah.
God bless you, man.
Oh, this is curious. It's always on. That's why you're losing the batteries.
Oh.
I don't have sugar or cream with
See
it.
this.
But if anybody likes it black,
But okay, so,
So I'm not pressing anything on this remote, so that's why it's draining. So something's always on this,
it's decaf. Okay. So that's not so much.
and it's even not.
Cream and sugar.
Yeah. Oh, only when you hold it down does it turn off. That's weird. So clearly something is stuck on the remote, so we'll have to take it apart and kind of troubleshoot what could be holding it down. It could be a stuck button, could be some kind of lead across the terminal, so that'll have to be fixed. And basically what happens next is we take apart the remote. It's a snap connector that goes in between the two halves, and once you split the two halves of the black housing, then you actually get into the guts of the item. This also gave a good opportunity to clean the contacts on the one side that were more corroded, so I gave an extra scrubbing on that, as well as cleaning up the leads on the printed circuit board, which will represent the keypads, just to make some better connections for the future on this remote. You can see the circuit board has like little fingers, and the black buttons on the rubber pads complete that circuit and actually trigger the remote to do something. So in this case, it sends out the signal. Remote was fairly clean, but clean this up should help any misfirings that would be going on if that was the case. And here I'm going back to cleaning up the contacts on the battery and give that a good scrubbing.
Oh my God.
But I know for like, I don't know, 20 years or more.
Alright, so it's not flashing anymore, at least not by default. So that's good. With that initial troubleshooting checked, that nothing on the board is going by default, I can bring back the keypad to see if at least rule out that the keypad wasn't stuck or some other element was in there. I'll do like cleaning on the keypad and then just test with the keypad on in the next step and check with the cell phone camera. And here we could see it flashing on command now and not all the time. So that's a good sign, and we can move on to the next step. I'm even testing it on the physical remote, which just happens to be on the floor, the actual device, and it was working. All that remains now is to put everything back together and make sure that the housing somehow wasn't pinching the remote to be on all the time. So that's basically putting the two halves together, reattaching the snap fit that comes together, and then testing it out with the actual DVD player, which is again on the floor, and I'll bring up in a second so you can see the effects. DVD player is turning on and off, and even able to open up the disc. Yep, there you go. So it's and that was the final check on the remote, but basically the customer just kind of kept going through and just was testing all the different buttons, fast forward, reverse, rewind, any other settings that he had, and everything appeared to be fine. So this was a success. Now the rules here could be applied to any remote that uses an infrared sensor. So hope this helps you troubleshoot your device in the future.